Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a topic that is just everywhere right now. It is heavily buzzed about, totally saturated in our culture, and yet, honestly, it's very often completely misunderstood. We're talking about gaslighting. It's a word that gets thrown around a lot these days, but today, we're going to break down exactly what it is, how it actually works, and most importantly, how you can protect your own mind.
Let me just start by asking you this straight up. Have you ever found yourself in an argument where you walked away thinking, wait, am I going crazy? Like, I know it happened, but they were just so convincing. If you've ever felt completely confused about your own memory in a relationship, or found yourself constantly apologizing even when you didn't really think you did anything wrong, you're absolutely not alone. That kind of confusion is incredibly common. So today, we're going to get you the clarity you deserve.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the gaslighting phenomenon, disagreement versus manipulation, the narcissistic abuse cycle, DARVO and gaslighting tactics, and finally, reclaiming your reality.
Section 1. The gaslighting phenomenon.
To really grasp how much this term has taken over, let's just look at the Merriam-Webster definition. They actually named gaslighting their word of the year back in 2022 because of how common the concept of this deception has become. By definition, it's the psychological manipulation of a person, usually over an extended period of time, that causes the victim to question the validity of their own thoughts, perception of reality, or even their memories. This typically leads to intense confusion, a total loss of confidence, and this really toxic dependency on the perpetrator.
And you know, the term itself actually comes from the 1944 film Gaslight, starring Ingrid Bergman. In the movie, this deceitful husband intentionally dims the home's gas lights and then flat out denies that the lights are flickering, all to manipulate his wife into believing she's literally losing her mind. And this historical film origin is brilliant because it perfectly illustrates how true gaslighting isn't just a casual difference of opinion, right? It is about extreme, intentional isolation and control.
Section 2. Disagreement versus manipulation.
You see, human memory, it is not like a video recording. Our recall can be heavily shaped by the emotions we felt in the moment, or stress, or just being distracted. So if your partner simply remembers an event differently due to, normal human error, and they truly believe their version of events, that's just a normal difference in perception. But a gaslighter? A gaslighter knows they are wrong. They know the truth, but they intentionally and actively deny it in order to control you and make you doubt your own reality. The absolute biggest clue here is malicious intent.
And this brilliantly illustrates the stark contrast between the two. In a normal disagreement, both people are sharing honest perspectives, trying to reach a mutual understanding, and your sense of self remains totally intact. But with gaslighting, the manipulator uses lies and denial to purposefully confuse you. The goal is dominance, and the ultimate outcome is that your confidence is systematically shattered, leaving you exhausted and apologizing for things you didn't even do.
Section 3. The narcissistic abuse cycle. Now, according to clinical resources, gaslighting often happens within a very specific 4-stage cycle. Stage 1 is idealization. This is the honeymoon phase where you're put on a pedestal and made to feel absolutely perfect. But then, it escalates quickly to Stage 2, which is devaluation. You're knocked off that pedestal and hit with criticism, insults, and heavy gaslighting to make you feel worthless. Stage 3 is rejection, where the abuser completely discards you and places all the blame on your shoulders. And finally, Stage 4 is hoovering. This is where they use love bombing and false promises to basically suck you right back into the relationship. It's this dizzying, exhausting loop designed to keep you confused and trapped.
Section 4. DARVO and gaslighting tactics.
Let's look at a phrase you might unfortunately recognize. That never happened. When you bring up something they said or did, and they flatly and confidently deny it, they are directly targeting your memory. This visceral phrase is designed to make you doubt your own recollection. And what happens? You end up stuck trying to gather evidence. You're keeping screenshots, saving recordings, just to prove your own sanity to yourself, rather than actually resolving the original conflict.
And then there's this classic, you're too sensitive, or maybe you're just overreacting. When a gaslighter uses these phrases, they're minimizing your legitimate concerns. Because think about it, if they can convince you that your feelings are the actual problem, then they never have to take accountability for causing you hurt in the first place. It literally conditions you to stop bringing up problems entirely. Now, these phrases are part of a broader, highly common pattern that counselors refer to as DARVO. That's D-A-R-V-O. It stands for deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. Here's how it plays out. When you speak up about being hurt, the manipulator will first deny the behavior. Then they'll attack you, saying you're crazy or too sensitive. And finally, they reverse the roles entirely, claiming that they are actually the one being victimized by you. It's a really clear, memorable mental model. And let me tell you, once you can recognize this blame-shifting acronym in real time, it loses a massive amount of its power over you.
Section 5. Reclaiming your reality.
So the crucial point is knowing how to actually respond when you're trapped in one of these conversations. Enter the gray rock technique. This is a fantastic boundary tool where you basically keep your responses emotionally neutral, brief, and purely factual. You act as uninteresting and unresponsive as, well, a gray rock. Now, to be clear, this technique isn't about fixing the relationship or achieving some grand reconciliation. It is entirely about self-protection. It's about protecting your body, your mind, and your spirit from just further exhaustion.
So what does gray rock actually sound like in the real world? It sounds like short, factual responses with absolutely zero emotional explanation or debate. Just simple phrases like, okay, or I'm not available for that, or even just, I'll get back to you. By staying calm and steady, you avoid giving the manipulator the emotional reaction they're desperately fishing for. You're demonstrating that you are just not going to be drawn into their chaotic alternate reality.
Okay, let's outline a concrete blueprint for freedom here. First up, you have to name it. You need to acknowledge out loud that you are being gaslit. Once you do that, step 2 is you can begin to trust yourself again and validate your own feelings. From there, step 3, documentation is absolutely vital. Keep the screenshots, save the emails, maintain a journal with exact dates and quotes. And listen, you aren't keeping these receipts to convince them. You are keeping them to remind yourself of the truth. And lastly for this stage, step 4, stop explaining yourself. State your reality once and do not debate it.
Now, because gaslighters really want to keep you isolated, your next move, step 5, should be reconnecting with your support system to seek outside validation. This is going to give you the strength for step 6, setting firm boundaries, and step 7, which is to stop trying to get the abuser to understand you. Finally, step 8, execute a safe exit strategy. The hard truth is that gaslighters rarely change because, hey, the manipulation is working for them. Executing that exit plan and honestly going no contact if possible is very often the only true path to healing.
Look, if you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer today, let it be this. Your gut instinct, it is always right. If something feels like gaslighting, it is for sure gaslighting. You are not crazy, you are just being manipulated. It is time to stop questioning yourself and start questioning them. The fog really will lift eventually, and your confidence will return. But it starts with a choice. So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on today. Will you continue questioning your own sanity, or is it time to finally trust your own reality? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and please remember, your reality is real. Trust it.